I regret to inform you that the Hellcat and the Hellcat Red Eye are no longer the kings of the road. I'm looking at Chevy Corvette Z06 C8, 670 horsepower. I'm looking at the Cadillac CTS Blackwing, 668 horsepower. Both of those cars are lighter than ours. Both of those cars are more agile than ours, more aerodynamic, better grip, better traction, better cars. Is the Hellcat dead? What's going on, guys? It's your boy Knockout 360 with another video for you guys. So you can tell I'm in the car that makes this a car vlog. You already know what's going down when I come around. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. Car content, car shows, car reviews, car mates, and any and everything car related happens on this channel. So if you're into that, make sure that you stick around, man, because I got some interesting stuff coming your way. For everyone else, hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so that you know what's coming out and when it's coming out, right? So let's talk about it. This isn't news to anybody because I'm sure you guys already know. Chevy Corvette C8 Z06. 5.5 liter V8, flat plane V8, 670 horsepower, naturally aspirated mid-engine, okay? 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds, 6 piston Brembos up front, 4 in the rear. Carbon fiber wheels, which saves them up to 41 pounds, right? So we're talking about a light, powerful, aerodynamic car, okay? Those things have never been said about Dodge. Replaceable spoiler, removable front fascia, so that you can, based on whatever you're doing, you can remove it and put something on a little more aggressive or a little less aggressive. Take the spoiler off, remove that, depending on what you're doing, a little more aggressive, a little less aggressive. Never been said about Dodge. That adds to the grip and handling benefits of the Z06. Once again, that has never been said about Dodge. 8,600 RPM rev limit. So you can just sit there and just rev the shit out of that thing and run that thing from 0 to 8,600. They're calling it the Big Nasty. 670 horsepower. 5.5 liter V8 flat plane engine. Excuse me, 0 to 60 in 2.6. That's a Hellcat killer, guys. That's a Hellcat and Hellcat Red Eye killer right there. Unfortunately, I don't have the official weight of the Z06. I don't think they've actually released that. It doesn't even matter about the weight because you and I both know it's going to be lighter than a Hellcat. The only drawback or downside that I'm looking at here is the 460 pound-feet of torque. That's a little low for a 670 horsepower American supercar or sports car, whatever. 460 pound-feet of torque is a little low. Hellcats are right at about 650 if I'm not mistaken. Red Eye's a little bit more than that. But we're talking about a car that's got, so we're comparing this to the regular Hellcat. The regular Hellcat right now, Charger and Challenger, is putting down 717. Of course, you know the Red Eye is putting down 797. But you know, like I know, that we have trouble putting down the power, right? So we can't get off the line. Now, on a perfectly prepped drag strip, we can do some damage. The Red Eye can certainly do some damage. The Hellcat, and then, of course, the Demon, as we all know. The Demon at this point is 2.5, 3 years old and no longer in production. So that's not even a comparison factor here. But 5.5 liter V8, 670 horsepower, naturally aspirated. Although the numbers don't match up one-to-one with the Hellcat, there are other things that you have to take into consideration. The weight, you have to take into consideration the drag, you have to take into consideration just wind resistance, all of that shit. And all of that shit hurts us. We have big, heavy muscle cars that have trouble getting off the line because we spend so much. We can't put the power down. This car can. The Z06 can. We're not even talking about the Cadillac yet. We'll get into that in the later part of this video. But the Z06 can. It's lighter. It's faster. It's more agile. It grips and handles better so that you can use it for more than just, you know, drag strip work. Take it to the track, go to work on it. At the end of the day, this definitely beats a Hellcat. 8 times out of 10. You know, the only scenario where I could see us beating it from a dig at least is if we get on the perfectly prepped drag strip surface, we get those tires nice and warmed up. It's a perfectly, like I said, prepped drag strip where we can actually put the power down. But without a doubt, the Corvette Z06 is a Hellcat killer. Hellcat Red Eye Killer, probably so. The same thing, because I don't see us getting off the line. I see us doing a whole lot of spinning. And I see this car just kind of cutting through the wind like a knife through butter, or a warm knife through butter for that matter. 8-speed transmission. Mid-engine design, which is revolutionary in and of itself, because we've still got the front engine situation, because we've got, you know, big relics of the past, big V8 Hemi relics of the past. What I want to talk about here, and let's just, you know, for shits and giggles, let's talk about the CTS Blackwing. CTS Blackwing, 668 horsepower, 6.2 liter V8, 4,123 pound curb weight. So total weight 4,123, which is still less than a damn Hellcat, okay? Still less than a Hellcat, still less than a Hellcat Red Eye. Hell, that's less than a Scat Pack, if I'm not mistaken. I think my Scat Pack wide body's heavier than that. I actually know it is for a fact. I think the curb weight on Scat Packs, at least the wide bodies, is right about 5,000 pounds, but we're not going to talk about that. The CTS Blackwing starts at about 80,000, or optioned out at about 80,000. You could option it probably to a little under 100, but that's because you're buying a Cadillac. For the Chevy Corvette, they're saying that they start at 60,000 and they can be optioned up to 79,000. But you and I both know they can actually be optioned up to a little bit more than that. I think I've seen them at about 85. So that is about Hellcat range as far as price is concerned, because you can get a brand new Hellcat right now. You can probably get a Red Eye wide body for about 85, 88, something like that. So that's actually Hellcat territory right there as far as the price is concerned. But my only concern is, so this beats pretty much everything that we can offer at this point. With the exception of just a perfectly prepped everything, and I've already talked about that. Tires, track, the whole nine. This beats us. The CTSV beats us as well, the Blackwing. I'm not necessarily worried about what we got on the table right now, because we've been offering this platform since 2015. So it's not like we've modernized our cars at all since 2015. If anything, we just put bigger wheels and a bigger supercharger in the car and said, okay, go. You know, bigger engine or bigger supercharger, bigger tires, go. You know, get out of my face. This right here is the future. You know what I'm saying? The mid-engine, 670 horsepower, rev limiter up to about 8,600 RPM. I think our rev limiter is about 4,000, or our revs up to about 4,000. That's where our rev limiter is. And then just, you know, the RPM in general, I think is about 7,000. So we can't do anything there. I think both, if I'm not mistaken, both the Z06 and the Blackwing have a higher top speed than the Hellcats, right over 200 miles an hour, because I believe that even the Red Eyes are putting down about 202 or 205 as far as top speed is concerned. So they have a higher top speed. They probably are going to accelerate a little bit harder. Maybe not, because you got to factor in that that torque. That torque is quite low for it to be as powerful as it is. 400 and I think it said 420, 440, something like that. That's low for something this powerful. You know what I'm saying? Personally, that should be up there in the 6s or the 5s at least. The 580s, like low 600s, honestly. You know, me personally, that's what I would like. But, you know, that's another conversation for another day. But the fact still remains, are these Hellcat killers? I think they are. I really think that they are. You know what I'm saying? I think that horsepower isn't everything, guys. I know on paper, you look at these cars, you see a Hellcat Red Eye sitting at 797, and then automatically your brain thinks, okay, 800. That's fair. You can call a Red Eye 800 horsepower. 3 horsepower off, 3 horsepower difference. That's nothing. You can call that. You know what I'm saying? Even the super stock. I think the super stock is right at about, what, 807, 804, something like that. And then, of course, with drag radials all the way around, the whole nine, horsepower isn't everything. Paperwork and actual figures and numbers in real life are two completely different things, you know? There are so many videos out there of Red Eyes versus Camaro Z01s. We're talking about old Camaro Z01s versus Mustang GT500s, hell, even Mustang GT350s, and we're still getting beat because all we do is spin. And by the time we actually able to put the power down, Those cars are 2, 3, 4 lengths in front of us, and it's too late. Not to mention, we're pushing a 5,000-pound body around. You know, we're pushing a damn AMG body around, a big Mercedes body around. You know what I'm saying? So needless to say, all of the Hellcats and everything that Dodge offers right now is pretty much dead in comparison to the Z06 and even the Black Hawk, or the Black Wing, I'm sorry. You know, the Cadillac Black Wing. But going forward, this should prove to Dodge that horsepower isn't everything. Power to weight ratio is where things come into play. You guys have seen videos like I've seen videos. I mean, I've seen boosted Honda Civics getting Hellcats off the line. I've seen Subarus getting Hellcats off the line. I've seen cars with much inferior power and numbers getting our cars off the line simply because our cars are so big. Do our cars look good? Absolutely. Do they feel good as far as sitting in them? Absolutely. I'm comfortable. I can do so much in this car. It's ridiculous, man. I mean, there was one point, not in this particular car, but my old V6, where I had to pick up a damn 60-inch TV. I just laid the back seat down and I laid the 60-inch TV in here. No other car can do that. Not a Chevy, not a Ford, not a Corvette, not a Mustang, not a Camaro. None of those cars can do that. So from a utilitarian aspect, these cars are great. They're big, they're powerful, they're comfortable. I know people that travel up and down the highway in this car. Shout out to my man, Mr. Goddammit. That dude gets in his Hellcat Challenger and he goes from Florida to Charlotte to Florida to DC like it's nothing, because as powerful as these cars are and as inefficient as they are as gas is concerned, they're still big power, you know, big comfortable cars that you can just sit in and chill, right? But going forward, if we are to stay and remain kings of the road, kings of the drag strip, what have you, it's important for us to shave weight and reduce size. It's important. Horsepower isn't everything. Numbers isn't everything as far as statistics are concerned. Weight means a lot. Weight means a lot, and being able to put the power down means just as much. And that kind of leads me to my next point. Like, I don't know if the Z06 and the Hellcat should even be considered or compared to one another. Obviously, we're going to start seeing drag racing videos. Whenever that Z06 drops, we're going to see drag racing videos like crazy versus Hellcats and Red Eyes and Demons. And of course, they're going to smoke us, right? They're going to smoke us, and they're just going to further prove the point that our cars are too damn heavy. I'm not surprised about that at all. But I'm saying that to say, should we really be comparing a 5,000-pound muscle car, like a Challenger, a box on wheels, or a brick on wheels, basically? Should we be comparing that to something as sleek and refined as the Z06? You know, I liken it to a scalpel, right, that doctors use during surgery, as opposed to a damn hammer or axe or fucking mallet. And that's what a Hellcat is. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing precise about us whatsoever when it comes to our cars. And I like that. And I know you guys like that too. I'm not knocking it. I'm simply saying we shouldn't compare those two, which leads me to my next point. Is it time for the Viper to come back? Is it time for Dodge to bring that Viper back? If there's any time for it, it's in the here and now. And I'm not obviously saying, you know, next year, 2022, because it just would make sense as far as the redesign is concerned in 24 and whatnot. I understand that they're probably not going to come back with it anytime soon, but we do need it. And I say that to say the Z06 is in a category of its own. We can't touch that. We just can't touch that. I mean, we would be shaving off way too much weight. We would be getting too much body. Before you know it, it wouldn't even look like a Challenger. If we were to compete with the Z06, aside from just giving us more horsepower and bigger tires, which Dodge loves to do, aside from doing that, we just can't compete with the Z06. We don't have the car. We don't have the design. That's just not us. You know what I'm saying? And for us to even try to compete with the Z06, for the engineers and the scientists and all of them to go back and say, you know, we should probably do this, they would be chopping the car down so much, it wouldn't look like a Challenger. It'd probably look like a Dodge Dart by the time they're done with it. Or as far as the Charger is concerned, a Dodge Dart. They'd probably have to get rid of the second row altogether, just because it's like, we've got to save space and weight. You know what I'm saying? So that's something you have to factor into. The Viper serves that purpose. The Viper takes care of the Corvette all day long, every day. Even the old Viper still stacks up very nicely against the modern day Z06 C8. more so than a Hellcat, you know? That's when, at this point, this is when Dodge should look at the playing field and see what pieces are being brought to the table. We revolutionized the game when we dropped the Hellcat in 2015. Nobody cared about the weight. Nobody cared about the lack of aerodynamics. Nobody cared about the lack of handling. Once you saw that 707 horsepower number, and that 200, or I think it was like 196 mile per hour speed limit, you didn't care about the weight, you didn't care about the aerodynamics, you didn't care about the, you know, the idiosyncrasies that makes a fast car a fast car. You didn't care. When you got 700 horsepower, it's fast. When you can go 196 miles an hour, it's fast. Nobody cares. But other manufacturers have sat back and said, instead of beating them at the horsepower game, instead of beating them with the statistics and the numbers, let's go back to the science of it all. And the science of it all always states that power to weight ratio is more important than power alone. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we're getting beat. There are hundreds of videos of Red Eyes getting smoked by Z01s, hundreds of videos of Red Eyes getting smoked by Mustangs. Of course, Mustangs got the GT500. I believe that thing is putting down 760 horsepower. Once again, it's in the horsepower numbers category as us, but it's also lighter and it's also more agile, and it serves that purpose even better than the Hellcat does. So if this all means one thing to Dodge, it's that they need to go back to the drawing board and get back to the science of it all, right? Don't even worry about the numbers. I would not mind seeing a Hellcat in 2024 that's like 680 horsepower or 700 on the dot, but 500 to 800 pounds lighter. Like that's where I want to be. You know, I want to be about 690 horsepower, 700 horsepower, but I also want to be, like I said, 500 to about 800 pounds lighter. That's what I want. That's the sweet spot for our cars, or all-wheel drive. If Dodge isn't going to give in with less horsepower, then give us all-wheel drive, and that'll take care of everything. Because we see Trackhawks destroy everything. We see Durangos destroy everything. That's because as big as those cars are, as powerful as they are, they're all-wheel drive, and you can put all of that power down. So that's the perfect formula. It's like, if we're just going to keep adding power and just bigger tires and heavier weight, that's fine, but you have to give us a drivetrain that can handle that. Henceforth, the reason we need the all-wheel drive. You know what I'm saying? But if you're just going to give us bigger this and bigger that and more this, and all of that in the rear-wheel drive component, that's simply not going to work. We're doing ourselves more damage. We sound good, we look good, but sounding good and looking good while losing isn't necessarily the desired outcome for a lot of us. Some of you guys like to look good and sound good, whether you win or lose. That's not quite me, you know? I love our cars. I love the design and everything, but there's one thing that was brutally honest with the Z06, and then with the Black Wing, and even with the GT500, and no telling what Ford has around the corner, no telling what Chevy has around the corner, but even with the Teslas and things like that, is that our platform, our car is archaic. I love it. I think it's dope. I personally like it. But from a performance perspective, we've got to do more. We have got to not necessarily reinvent the wheel. We just got to make the wheel better and lighter and faster. And that's the case here. I still love of course, I love my Mopars. Don't even get it twisted, guys. That's not the case. I'm simply saying the Z06, the Black Wing are Hellcat killers. There's nothing that we can do about it right now. And that's just what it is, you know? Talk to me, guys. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about the Z06? What were your thoughts on that? The biggest drawback that I took from that was the torque, 460 pound-feet of torque. That's low, honestly. I mean, hell, I think the Scats are putting down like 445 or 450 in torque, if I'm not mistaken. So you're telling me a 670 horsepower, $80,000 car has the same torque as my Scat Pack? That was interesting. I don't know how that's going to play out, but seeing the RPM at 8,600, you can just sit there and rev all day. I don't know if it's going to have a rev limiter or not, but 8,600 RPM, 200 mile per hour top speed, a body line that looks like it can cut, you know, a tree down. That's interesting, and it's to be respected, guys. I'm interested to see what it's going to perform like, you know, when it gets out there on the track and on the strip, and then, of course, on the street. But that's how I feel, guys. Talk to me, man. Do you feel like the Hellcat is archaic? Do you feel like it's outdated? Do you feel like we have a chance lining up against the Z06? I personally don't. I understand that there's about a 30 or 40 horsepower difference when you do the numbers, but there's also about 800 to 900 pound difference too when it comes to the weight. You know what I'm saying? So that factors in as well. But talk to your boy, man. As always, it's your boy Knockout 360 here with another video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.